taken aback. I had to post it on my page. My email on, like, what's going on? Search for one client 1 week is gonna tank the next week, outperform both of them. I was like, well, damn.
Well, you're welcome. You know, they get more for their more bang for their buck, and you get more money. That's gonna stop the scroll. That's a hook in itself. And sometimes brands get rude. Like, they'll get rude about your prices.
Look, if you can't afford me, that's cool. Just say that.
Exactly. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm gonna be munching on some grapes because I skipped lunch and I'm hungry. How are you doing? I'm so glad I got to talk to you. I always see you. I'm like, Sonia, this is Sonia. I think I have like a little crush on you because you're like super cute and all. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Sonia. She's on my For You page.
I love it. I absolutely love your work too, girl. I just be soaking up all your knowledge that you share.
Thank you. Thank you. So you just got back. I was just sharing with everyone that you just got back from DTC After Dark, and that looked like so much fun. Tell us a little bit about, you know, what it was and what you did. I want to hear all about it.
Yeah, so it was nothing I had ever experienced before. We, you know, had the opportunities, myself and 6 other creators, literally from around the world. 4 of us were from the States, 1 was from Canada, 1 flew from England. Awesome. So we had a lot of just like good amount of creators coming. Flew out to Texas, and I knew that we were going to be working with some of the brands or a lot of the brands that use Triple Whale, but I didn't understand the whole, we're recording our own kind of real world reality TV show. I was just kind of taken aback when we got there, and there was like this full setup of a film crew.
Camera crew, yeah.
Yeah, they like mic'd us up, guy holding the big little mic.
The boom mic.
Yeah, they like legit camera crew with their cameras and their little holding thing and the harness and the whole shebang. And I was just like, this is the real deal. Like when we were in the house, it was super fun, just like getting to know each other because we had this really decked out house in Austin. I'd never been to Austin.
Yeah,
by the way.
Right? Yeah.
Austin is hot, like a different kind of hot. Like I was not ready for that. I mean, you probably know because you're in Florida, and that humidity hot is. I'm in Chicago, and we get that here, but it's different in Austin. But yeah, so like we just spent the days, you know, kind of either staying in the house recording content, going around the city recording content, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and just, you know, experiencing as much as Austin as we could while still being mindful of the content that we were creating. And then I think initially we were under the impression that we were only going to do like 6 different ads, but we ended up getting like 13, 14 different brands assigned to us each, but then we only had to do snippets of the actual clips, and then we're going to send them later on so they can kind of compile everything together and then also do the final production of the quote unquote reality TV show.
That is so cool. I can't wait to see it. I see yours and Kristen's and Ryan. Like, I know all of you guys. Like, I know everybody there. I was like, oh my God, you guys, it looks like so fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think honestly though, the best part was that was my first time actually meeting internet friends in real life. So that was really cool.
So I chatted with somebody that lives in West Palm Beach, and she has kids too. So we're like, oh, let's go to the Palm Beach Zoo. And I was telling my husband about it, and he's like, that seems kind of weird. I'm like, no, she's my friend. We're fine.
That's amazing.
So for those of us just joining, this is Sonia. Tell us a little bit about yourself. She's like expert UGC creator. Honestly, she was one of my inspirations when I first hopped onto Twitter. I saw all your stuff, and I'm like, I want to be like her. So how long have you been doing this? Like, what got you started, and you know, how's it going?
Yeah, you know, it's been a very interesting story, I would say. So I've been making content for my own personal brand for years and years and years. And then I got into the UG space about a year ago, actually. I had a brand or an agency reach out to me on behalf of a brand. Nice. And they were like, hey, we've got this brand that's in the fitness space. I think you'd be a really good fit. How does, you know, creating 8 videos for them for their TikTok page sound? I was like, I had to post it on my page. And they're like, yeah, it's like you would just create strictly for them. I was like, let's do it.
Okay, yeah.
So I got my first taste of that a year ago. And then it was the beginning of this year where I was, you know, kind of playing with it and just like doing some cold outreach. And I probably sent out like maybe like 5 or 6 different emails like in January, early February timeframe. And only one of them was a successful client.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will say this one that said yes was my dream client. Like this is the one I was like, I would like absolutely love to work with this brand. And I'm doing reoccurring with them. I do one video a month for them. So it's been great.
Right.
And then in February, I decided, okay, I'm going to go all in on this. Like because prior to this, I still am a personal trainer. But I was doing that full time. So at the end of February, I was like, I'm going to switch my website from personal training into full blown UGC. And I'm just going to close my book of business for personal training. And then if my clients start to trickle out, that's fine. But I want to put everything into being a UGC creator. So like I said, I switched over my website. I built up that portfolio. I, switched out all my like bios in my social media to reflect being a UGC creator. And then I got on Twitter. So I had this Twitter account actually started May 2020, but I only had one post on it, and it was for my personal training business. Outside of that, and I didn't even actively do that post. It was one of those automatic share to Twitter kind of things. I never used Twitter. Yeah. So I never used Twitter before that. So at the end of February, I was like, I done seen a couple creators on TikTok, like GT, Sheridan was one as well. And they're just like, hop on Twitter. So I was like, I don't know how to use this app, but let's do it. So I get on Twitter and just fake the funk. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the hell I was talking about. I didn't know anything about the industry outside of just what I learned about doing my own marketing for my own business for personal training. So I just got on there, and again, I faked the funk. I was just like, I'm new here. This is what it is. I just started posting my work, and honestly, that's what catapulted me to where I am today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate ever since I went all in full time that I've been working strictly inbound. I haven't done any cold outreach since end of February outside of one client because it was, I really wanted to work with this brand, not the dream client, but another one. Literally just posting my work is what just kind of catapulted me out there. And what allowed me to meet people, which allowed me to network with more people, which just has been opening the doors left and right like crazy. Now, I'm not saying like every day is a good day and, I'm just getting a flood of emails there. I commented on one of your videos where it's like, you're doing great. And then you get that 1 week where it's just like crickets and you're like, is my email on? Like, what's going on?
Like I'm terrible at this. Nobody wants to hire me. I should just quit. I know. Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly and I tell everyone I come across, I'm like, just post your work. And they're like, where do I post it? Everywhere. Post it everywhere and anywhere. Like
everywhere.
That's the only way you get to. Every time I post something, I get inbounds. And it's like, that's the only way you're going to see it. And I post them everywhere. I post them on Twitter. I have a TikTok UGC and I have a Instagram UGC where I put only UGC videos. And that's where it comes from. And that's why people are like, where is it? That's exactly what you got to do. You got to put it out there. And like, I mean, I know a lot of the newbies are like, worried about getting, judged and all that kind of stuff. But like you said, you got to fake it till you make it. Same thing. I have a similar story. Well, I've been doing a lot of marketing for myself, and I was a brand strategist and web designer. So I had a lot of that marketing background. And that's the same thing. I had a client ask me, they're like, oh, hey, can you create content on TikTok? I'm like, yeah, I can. I do for myself. And it just kind of went on from there. And I was like, I kind of love this. And that's, I just finished with my last web design client last month. And I'm like, I'm done with that. Now we're doing content creation full time. So that's so interesting to hear that the story is very similar. And I find that a lot of the most successful, or at least the ones that are getting consistent work, it's kind of like that. You have a background. So for all the newbies, I'm always like, it takes time, you guys. There's so much you have to learn. There's so much that you need to know. It's like, don't get discouraged.
And even to this day, like, still learning every day. We're still learning because, everything changes so quickly. Like, what worked for one client 1 week is going to tank the next week and vice versa. Like, you've got to, when you're able to find those clients where you can really sit and do like a monthly kind of thing with them and just run and just burn and churn the creatives to see what works. Like, you'd be surprised. I was working with one. It's a small company, and they ordered one concept with 2 hook iterations, and then I threw in just a free unboxing just for kind of like shits and giggles because it's just like, hey, So it's funny because she ran all 3 of them, and she was like, I'm so thankful you sent me that unboxing because the unboxing, which was not even planned, it is an ASMR unboxing. it was the one that was outperforming the other two ads that I like meticulously planned, had my hook, problem, solution, a little comedy in there, and it just outperformed both of them. I was like, well, damn.
Well, you're welcome.
Right?
I mean, and that's TikTok. Like you get like those videos that like you did like in 10 minutes and they're like thousands of views, and then like the ones that you sat and recorded and edited for hours, did different locations, it's like 2 views. Oh,
yep.
So that's absolutely true. I mean, that's huge, telling brands, you know, that they need to understand that one video is not going to get you anywhere. You need to do more. And that's how you transition into, you know, longer term. How do you exactly, you know, turn these one-off partnerships into more longer term, or, you know, how have you transitioned any of those into longer term?
So initially, when I talk to brands on my initial call with them, I'm always pitching like, I prefer monthly long-term ship partnership. You're going to get the more bang out of your buck in the long run, right? Like if we can get an actual strategy in place and outside of these one-off videos, it's going to be beneficial for both of us, right? So I think opening the lines with that is a good way, because I think I saw your tweet today saying like once you send a video you can pitch to them like for an ongoing kind of a thing, and I've actually never done that, but I think that is a good like strategy for sure. You know, and you know, like if you
I didn't even think about opening with it. I love that idea of opening with it too.
And you know, if you create good work, like they're gonna want to come back, you know. It's all in the delivery, honestly, like, and how you present yourself. So like, again, like just taking that first call that I do with clients and saying like, you know, what it is that you're interested in. They're like, you know, a one-off video, but then I also explain, well, hey, we could do a one concept. I do hook iteration. So maybe we have that one concept, but we have 2 different hooks. I also let them know I offer raw footage for an additional fee. And then, you know, based on your budget and your needs, we can talk about monthly, because at the end of the day, I want to be able to implement some type of strategy with you guys, so we understand which creatives work in the long run.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. I just recently started doing like the multiple hooks things, and brands love it because you get, and it's easy for you because you have the video done already, and changing the hook is like nothing. Or I've even added changing the call to actions, and that's great. Brands love it, and you get, you know, they get more for their, you know, more bang for their buck, and you get more money. So it's fantastic. That's a question that I get all the time. Like, how are you turning these partnerships into long term? And yeah, I mean, like, this is why I love talking with creators, because I didn't even think about, you know, starting off the conversation with it. But yeah, I always, at the end of working with them, I'm like, hey, and I also do this, because brands don't know. Brands will look at your portfolio, but they're not scouring your page for all your services. They're not trying to figure it out. Ain't nobody got time for that. So you tell them, you got to tell them. And just a lot of times they'll take you up on it. If not right then, they'll come back and they'll be like, oh yeah, hey, so she, you know, we worked with her and she offers full-time creation or monthly creation, whatever the case is. So yeah, I absolutely love that. That's a great way to be turning long-term partnerships. Do you have any questions over there on your end?
What do you think your biggest challenge is, especially because obviously we're both, you know, women of color creators, so we're the minorities in the game. So what do you think your biggest challenge has been in this industry?
You know, I feel like I've used it to my advantage. I'll pitch and be like, hey, I'm Latina, I'm a mom, I'm a millennial, you know, like different categories that you're not representing. So I can help you out with that. You know, sometimes it depends on, I've been fortunate enough as well as you, been getting a lot of inbounds, mostly inbounds, I would say as well. I haven't had to really convince anybody that they need to work with me. They're coming to me. It's been same because I've been posting my work everywhere and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, fortunately, I haven't had any issues with it or anybody being like, oh, we need a different look. But I do know it's a thing, and I know it's harder. Like, you can see it on Twitter. It's harder for BIPOC creators to get a job. You know, it's harder for creators that look differently, or, you know, that aren't these cute little tiny model kind of look. And it's just, I feel like it's changing. I feel like it is changing in the positive direction. We just got to keep pushing for it. We need to get out there. You know, BIPOC creators, get out there, put your stuff out there, you know, show what's going on, show that you can do just as good or better. I mean, like, that, I feel like that's the only way. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree. There was not like an incident, but there was the situation. I thought it was hilarious. But like a fitness brand had put out a post on their TikTok and it was like, hey, we're looking for creators. And I went on their feed and I looked at it and it was very much so your standard look for creators. So I actually commented on them and I was like, if you're looking to diversify your feed, I'm a UGC creator and I'd be happy to chat. Here's my website. Take a look at my portfolio. Never heard anything from them. And to this day, I don't think that I've seen any kind of diversity on their feed. But I think just, standing in your power and just being confident enough to say like, I feel good reaching out, or if the brands are reaching out to you, and just adding that, like you said, like that is a good way to make you stand out from other creators. Cause it's like, I can add that in diversity inclusion to your marketing strategy, So like, if you are pitching, like, I think that's something that creators should absolutely use. Not only can I
lean into it.
Yeah, not only can I do X, Y, and Z, but I can help with diversity inclusion. And by the looks of it, you need some melanin on your screen.
Right, right. Let's get some color up in there. Well, and I think brands are going to start being left behind if you're not going to be adding, representation, because Gen Z is all about it. Gen Z, they don't play. So if you're not going to make ads or TikToks or videos that look like them, are representative of everyone, you're going to get looked over. And it's an opportunity to educate brands and be like, hey, you're going to need this. You're going to need this. So how about you start with someone like me, or just anything to get that color up in there, because it is what it is. But fortunately, I haven't had an issue, and I actually was able to get one brand specifically that they were like, oh yeah, we're looking for more inclusion. And that's ultimately kind of what I don't want to be a creator full-time forever, only because I have kids and all that kind of stuff. And last month rather, I reached my max, and I was just like, I can't do this every single month to make this kind of money. So ultimately, I'd love to do like be like BIPOC creator agency, and like, you need people, you're going to come here. We have them. We have the talent. We have the, they know what they're creating, and you're going to get diversity and inclusion. So come here to my agency. So ultimately, that's what I'd like to get going in the end. Okay. Actually, that's a good question. How about for you? Like, do you see this going long term as a creator? What do you think? What are your thoughts on the future of your job?
I absolutely love creating, but it comes with a lot, like it's time consuming. It takes a lot of creative energy. It's a whole creative process. So I'm actually really interested in getting more into media buying. So not even just creating content, but actually running the content on behalf of the brands. I'm a very data-driven person. So like when I create ads, like I want to know the metrics. I want to know how they perform. And I think that would be a good indicator that I think being a media buyer and actually running those ads would do me some good to know like how my creatives are actually performing.
So I used to run Facebook ads way back in the day, and it was not my favorite thing, but it's important to know it's important to know that terminology. It's important to know what brands are looking for, what they're measuring with your creative, because views is not it. Views is not all that's going to get the brands what they need. They need click-through rate, they need the scroll stopping, they need watch time, all that kind of stuff that as a new creator particularly, you're not sure of yet. So it's always good to learn. I started going on like YouTube binges about how to run TikTok ads and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, it's very similar to Facebook. It's not my thing though, but it's good to know.
For sure. I think somebody asked a question about rates. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on if creators should include rates in their portfolio. That's a good question. Denise, you want to go first?
Okay, so from the brand and web designer background, I always created for services, and particularly female services. Pretty much everyone would put the starting at rates in their portfolio, only because it's going to deter or not necessarily on Twitter, but it'll deter brands that are like looking for like $50 videos. If they see that you're starting at, $150 or $100, $120, whatever you're starting at, it's going to be more than $50, hopefully. it kind of helps you stay in that power and not cave to it, because no, this is my starting price. I always have wiggle room up or down depending on the brand, how they come at me. If I like it, if I really want to work with them, I will shift my pricing. But if you have that in there, you can stick to it. It helps you stick to your guns. And I say leave it in there.
Yeah. Personally for me, so when I was starting, I had my rates in there, and then I offered 2 different packages. I did a one-off and then a 3 video and then custom monthly retainers. And then when did I get rid of them? I did get rid of them, so I don't have my rates in there anymore. I want to say probably like a month ago, give or take, I got rid of them. And I haven't seen a difference in influx in terms of people reaching out or asking questions. So now when it happens and they're, they reach out to me and ask me what my rates are, I tell them one off, like I start at X, Y, and Z for organic or ads, but it's going to be very dependent on what your needs are, because I'm never going to pitch just do one video, right? Like, and every brand is different. Like you could be a brand, I did a brand where I initially did 3 ads for them, and then they came back and they wanted 5 hook iterations, right? So like every brand is going to be very, very different. So I don't want to just do this custom, like here's my, my one set of packages that I have, because I might offer 1 or 3 for that initial package, but they only want 2 videos, So, for me, I haven't seen a difference in terms of just the amount of inbounds I'm getting when I had my rates in it or when I didn't have my rates in it. At the end of the day, I still get ghosted at the same rate.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it makes a difference. It's a personal preference, and it's going to be a personal preference for the brands too, whether they want to see it or not. I don't think it's going to turn anybody on or off to yourself completely.
Yeah.
So I think it's a preference thing. It's not going to get you more, or it's not going to get you less. So I'm never like one to say you have to do it this way, but
it's all personal. As a creator, I say try both. See if it makes a difference, right? Because like that's the only way you're going to find out.
Exactly. Definitely. Absolutely. I have a question here. What is your take on a hook? Like using hooks? So it depends. If you're doing a paid ad, usually you start with the hook.
You have to start with that's what's
the real. You have your hook. Right. You have your hook, you have your story, you have your resolution, and then you have your call to action. That's a paid ad. There's many ways to do it, but you sandwich it with your hook and your call to action because you're trying to get your buyer to do something. So I hate hooks. I hate them. Those, 3 reasons to do this, or if you need this, you need to check this out. I hate them, but they work. And they've been working for the history of marketing. So hooks, you need to use them. You need to use them if you're doing a paid ad. And you don't have to be kitschy. Like you don't have to use the same hooks over and over. And I love that one video that you did with the visual hook, like putting the stuff on your face with a spatula. It's like, wait a minute, that's going to stop the scroll. That's a hook in itself. Like these visual hooks, changing the angle of the video. I did one the other day where the camera was on the floor and I like got down to the floor and it stops the scroll because it's something different. So it's anything that will catch the attention just to get your, the video viewed is hooks. So I don't know.
And I think the thing about hooks is like, they don't have to be like you saying something like, like a close up of some interesting gooey squishy something, like it's a bright color something, like a strong action. It could be like something's on the counter and you just knock it off. Like I saw somebody saying something like she saw a hook where somebody was reversing the car and it was about to run something over, but then they stopped right before they ran it over. And of course, if you're watching that, you're gonna be like, holy shit, like,
you're like, oh no.
So a hook can be anything that is going to grab that viewer's attention. In terms of your question, I think elaborate on hook iterations. So basically you can have a concept for a video, say a concept, and then you can change out that first 3 seconds of the video, and so that people will test multiple hooks, but the rest of the video, the rest of the video is going to be the same. It's just that first 3 seconds, it'll be a different visual and audible hook iteration. So that's what we mean we're saying hook iteration. So just same concept, but just different hook.
Yeah, exactly. Because usually you start with your video with whatever it is that you're going to start with, and then you can keep the rest of it exactly the same. So it's very easy to switch those out. Let's see, would you say $100 a good starting rate? Okay, me and rates. Go ahead. What do you say?
It varies per creator, per experience, what they have to offer. I would say the benchmark right now that I'm seeing for organic videos is anywhere from like 75, as low as 50, up to 150. So, and again, that's all based on your experience, what you have to offer, and the value of your work. If you're starting off, I would say 100 is a good starting off rate. And once you acquire more experience, do not hesitate to up your rates.
To bump it. Yes.
Personally, for me, 100 is way too low.
So I always say, especially if you're starting off with anything, really, charge where you're comfortable. There's no real standard. Like, you're not going to start charging $200 if you're not comfortable, because it's going to come across when you're talking to the brand like, oh, I charge $200 per video.
Yeah.
No, you need to sound comfortable in what you're charging. So if it's $75 to start because you've never worked with a brand before, you've never created a concept before, that's fine. Start there. But definitely, you know, as you're getting experience, as you gain confidence, as you feel better, you're going to realize that $75 ain't it. So you start bumping it up as you feel better and as you gain more experience. So charge where you feel comfortable. You're not wrong for charging whatever you're charging. There's creators in every price range. So if a brand doesn't fit your price range, that's another thing too. Like, don't be afraid to say like, hey, there are other creators that will charge, and I offer other creators like, no, you know, fortunately I have brands that charge, that pay what I want. Here are some creators that are more in your budget. If you do raise your budget, you said it in a tweet, I think you had a brand come at you from a while ago that weren't in your budget, and now they are. So definitely, you know, stay where you feel comfortable and charge what you feel comfortable. Don't be pushed around by the brands either. Like, if you're charging 150 and you feel good about 150 and they don't want to pay you 150, you don't have to drop it down just because they're.
Yeah, that's another thing. I know, I think you have a hard stop at 2, and I have a hard stop at 1 as well. But don't negotiate the rates, negotiate the deliverables. So if somebody's like, oh, yes, $100, and maybe that's your one-off video, or, you know, can you do 2 videos for 200? And you say like, well, my one-off video is 200 for organic. Then you say, well, maybe I only do 1 video instead of lowering my rates, right? So there's ways around it. And another book I recommend this to you too. Never Split the Difference from Chris is a must read. Like, if you want to get confident in your negotiation skills, that is a book I highly recommend to everybody to read, because it just, and it's stuff like, you're like, damn, like that makes so much fucking sense.
I know.
Like, how did I not think about it? But then like, you understand it. And once you start implementing it, ooh, girl, the whole table.
Yes. It definitely gives you the power and the confidence to stand in your, stand your ground. Like, don't be a pushover. Don't let anybody push you over. And sometimes brands get rude. Like, they'll get rude about your prices, and that's fine. That's on them.
Right.
Not you.
So like, look, if you can't afford me, that's cool. Just say that.
Exactly. Right. Definitely. The book is called Never Split the Difference. Chris Potts. There you go.
Yeah.
It's really good. Awesome. Yes. I did have to, we're doing till 2. I promised the kids that I was going to take them to the pool after this, so I'm ready for
no worries. I got to record some content anyway, so it's worked out perfectly.
I know, right? Well, thank you so much for joining.
Fun. This is my first live too, so this is a lot of fun.
Yay! And I heard next week you're going on with Laura, so I'm gonna watch that, right?
Yes. Get all the lives in now.
I know, right? So is it okay with you if I make this live a YouTube? That's what I've been doing with the lives. I'm turning them into YouTube. Cool.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Well, I like to always ask, what is like a tip that you have for newbie creators? Like, what's one thing that you wish you knew when you were first starting out?
Consistency. The name of the game in anything you do is consistency.
That's a good one.
If you just started your business and you're like, oh, I'm 3 weeks in, I haven't found a client, girl, you better fucking toughen up, because you ain't you think it's going to take 3 weeks to get you a booming business. So
not anymore.
Consistency for sure.
Absolutely. And especially as more creators hop on. Like when I first started, I did get my first deal real quick, but and from Twitter, that's not going to happen anymore, you guys. It's like getting really full. Anybody that posts that they need UGC, it's got like 100 comments within like 5 minutes. So you need to diversify and have patience. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
100%. Well, again, thank you, Sonia. I'm so glad I got to chat with you.
So much fun.
And keep killing it. You're awesome. And I'm so glad. Thank you.
Right.
So bye, everyone. Thank you guys, all the rest of you also for joining.
Joining.
And catch us again. I do every Thursday. I do a new creator or a brand or somebody that works with brands. And all right.
Thanks.
Have a great week, y'all.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.